All right. All right, Jeffrey. And we're going to actually read all the way to May, so we'll finish out April. Okay, about 10 pages. All right, Jeffrey, here we go. Let's see how we ended. Oh, Alexia. Okay. Her having that realization for Peter. Okay. Remember him calling the collaborative kids the mean name. And then it being James who kind of broke his shield. He wasn't talking to anybody. Okay, so that's kind of where we left off. So let's see where we go next. All right. Things happen for a reason. Jessica told me that. I didn't hate Peter. Even if I wasn't smiling on the outside, he had me laughing on the inside a lot. He just liked to have fun, and the good fun went real bad on him that day in the snow. That's all. It wasn't all his fault. James told us that. James had more courage, more good heart in him than any of us smart kids. Smart kids. Why is that in quotation marks? Because he is talking. It's not dialogue, right? There's the smart kids. Lucian?
Because they, even though they were supposed to be the smart kids, they didn't know how to fix Peter.
They didn't know how to kind of come together after this tragedy. Okay? And he's saying the smart kids when it was James, right? One of the collaborative kids, one of the life skills kids. Okay? So he's saying smart doesn't matter. Like this one, James, kind of brought their class back together. Very good. Okay. I don't know if James's words alone would have been enough, but then Cool Man Luke came to the rescue. Not just Peter's rescue, but all our rescues. We needed to talk. Thanks to James and Luke, we started to. Things happen for a reason. And he said it again, and it's in italics. That's important. I can't find all of the reasons. Did everything we did with the collaborative classroom lead toward this moment? Is this why it all happened? Why did it have to be Peter? And why did it have to be our teacher in a coma? Was it so that I would learn that life isn't fair sometimes? Because I learned that a long time ago with Michael. Okay, so what's his mood and kind of like, okay, the word coming to my mind is disposition, but what's his kind of like, I don't know, personality or mood right now? So we know what he's like right now, and then we can see kind of how he changes. Jose. He's questioning a lot of stuff. Would you say he feels kind of more in his more like down, somber mood, or like his, okay, like things are going to be okay mood? What do you think? Can you say it out loud? Kind of in the middle? Okay, like kind of middle, kind of down. He's not like, yay, but he did acknowledge that now they are talking, and that was a good thing. But he ended with, like, I know life's not fair, and he brought Michael up again. And you know that's a sensitive subject for him, right? All right, so remember that when we read the last one of Jeffrey. Okay, Anna. Things are working out, sort of. There's been good news for James. Lexi's back to being nice, and Peter's part of our class again. But it's hard to stay positive when Mr. Terupt is about to have brain surgery. I get scared when I think about it for too long. And I think about it all the time. That and my mom. Danielle's words crushed me. I didn't get mad at her, though. In a way, I felt sorry for her. I know she wants to be my friend, but her family doesn't want that to happen. That's got to be hard. This time, I talked to my mom about it as soon as I got home that day. Mom, Danielle says her family disapproves of you and that you and Charlie will never be allowed to get married. Whoa! Slow down, Anna, Mom said. First of all, Charlie and I aren't looking to get married. Second of all, I know that their family disapproves of me. My jaw fell open. When your jaw falls open, what's your emotion?
Surprised.
Surprised or shocked. Anna is shocked that her mom already knows all this stuff. Okay. So then Mom says, sit down, honey. I sat at the kitchen table across from Mom. She had been looking over the mail and drinking a cup of coffee, cream and sugar, when I burst in on her. Mom explained, Charlie and I went to school together. When I ended up having you, he didn't treat me kindly, just like everyone else. In fact, one day he got me so upset that I kicked his truck. I put that dent in his door. That's how she knows. Yeah. I could see my mom reliving those painful memories as she spoke. He's actually apologized to me for how he behaved back then. But why would Charlie say he's sorry if his family disapproves of you? Because he's part of the family. Like, why is he apologizing? Danielle's parents and grandparents are pretty old-fashioned and religious, just like my parents, who couldn't find a way to be accepting of me and my situation all those years ago, and they still can't. For a second, I wondered about my mother's mom and dad. I've never met them. Were they really that unforgiving? Were Danielle's? So she's kind of like having an aha moment, like, I haven't even really met my grandparents yet. Like, I don't even know what they're like. I think Charlie just went along with everyone else when we were teenagers, but now he's ready to think for himself. It's always good to make up your own mind, Mom said. So I have Mr. Terupt to thank. If it weren't for his accident, Danielle might never have come over, just like she said. Thanks, Mr. Terupt, but you didn't need to go and get hurt this bad so I could be friends with Danielle. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful, but I'd really like you back now. You're going to get better. Be positive. You taught me that. Maybe Danielle and Charlie will be able to change their family's opinion of us, I said. I'm going to be positive. Mr. Terupt would want that. Okay, so that's almost like a little bit of closure there for Anna, because she kind of talked with her mom about that. Okay. All right, Danielle. I know what it's like to have people gang up on you. Being big, I learned real quick. It stinks. I never thought I'd do that to someone else, but I did, and I didn't even realize it. Peter must have felt that no one in the whole wide world liked him. I see it now, but I didn't see it when it was happening, when it mattered most. Not until James and Luke made me open my eyes. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever been in a situation where, like, something's happening and you don't quite see it because you're in the middle of the situation, but then when the situation's over or when someone else kind of gives you their perspective, you see, like, oh, you're right, they were doing that, or oh, I was doing that. Like, have you ever had that realization? I know I have. I know you've only been alive for like 10, 11 years, but if it hasn't happened, it probably will. It's hard to see things when they're right in front of you, and that's what Danielle's saying. Okay. And here she says right here, selfishness caused me to be blind. I was only looking out for myself, so I didn't see anybody else. Okay. I only thought about how bad I felt. I'm not saying I would have done anything different had I seen it earlier. I'm just glad it changed, for all of us. Luke told us that Mr. Terupt's going to have brain surgery. All the girls started crying when he told us that, and the boys didn't make fun of us for it, not like every other time. Luke kept talking. He told us about Mr. Terupt's wrestling and concussions, and it not being all Peter's fault. It was an accident, a real honest accident, with lots of us to blame. Luke said that Peter threw the snowball because of him, but he wasn't the only one who got Peter mad that day. Others of us started confessing. I prayed to God to cleanse us all. I hugged everybody at James's party. I was sorry for so much, but really sorry for Peter. Even though we all told him it wasn't just his fault, I think he still felt like it was. I felt bad for Anna too. I hope she wasn't mad at me after what I had told her. I wanted us to still be friends. I also wondered what Charlie's intentions were toward her mother, so I asked him. I found Charlie out in the barn early one morning before school. He was sitting next to one of the cows, getting her ready for milking. "Morning, Sunshine," he says. "What brings you out here?" "I wanted to know why you went to see Terry Adams," I said. "To share a good cup of coffee with a fine woman," he said, "and to ask for her forgiveness for the way I treated her when we were in school." Charlie slipped the machine on the cow's udders and got her milking. "Good girl," he said, patting the cow. Then he walked over to the next one, squatted down, and started the process over. "Do you think Anna and her mom are bad influences on me?" I asked. "Nope. But I don't think you should try and change Grandma's or Mom's opinion on that." "Are you going to see Terry again?" "I'd like to," Charlie said. He stood and moved to the next cow. He had 4 machines, so he could milk 4 cows at the same time. He did this every morning and night. "Then are you going to try to change their opinions?" "Nope. I see no reason to start a family war. You shouldn't either," he said. "Well, that's easy for you to say because you can just drive yourself over there whenever you want. Sooner or later, my teacher won't be in the hospital any longer. He'll either be back or in the ground, and I won't have any reason to go over to Anna's house. I want to be friends with her and her mother. I like them." Charlie stopped what he was doing and looked at me. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it, he said, and let's continue to pray for that teacher of yours. Do you think he'll make it through the surgery? I don't know, Charlie said. I wish I could tell you, but I only know animals. He walked over to me and wrapped his arm around me, giving me a little squeeze. It's time for you to catch the bus. Go on, have a good day at school. He made me smile a little. I hope I didn't smell too much like the barn. All right, so now Danielle's had her conversation with Charlie. She's gotten a little bit of information off her chest and some information that she was hoping to get. And here we're ending with Jeffrey now, okay? So remember, we're looking for the change that we see just in today's reading between Jeffrey at the beginning and now in his next chapter, okay? Here we go, Jeffrey. If anyone knows silence, it's me. The silence in our classroom wasn't the worst. There was always someone you could turn to and whisper. It contained tons of sadness and guilt, but it wasn't absolute. Even Peter's silence was over. He was lucky. My silence at home pressed on, with nobody for me to turn to and with nobody in sight to rescue me. That silence was absolute, meaning like it was not changing, it was not going away, okay? The only company in my house was more sadness and guilt. But somewhere along the way this year, Terupt taught me to see things different, to think about things different, to think about more than just me. It was always my silence and my fault. But now I started to think about Mom's silence and Dad's silence, and Mom's fault and Dad's fault. They were hurting too. Why did I have to wait for them to talk to me? I didn't. A few days after James's party, I crept into Mom's bedroom where she lay on the bed in her pajamas. I climbed in next to her and put my arm around her. And then I told her, "It's not your fault. I love you." She didn't do anything, but I lay there and fell asleep, holding my mom. When I woke up, I felt good. I hoped my words had helped her. I thought of Terupt as I walked out of her bedroom. He had helped me reach out. I missed him. I wish I had a chance to tell him how I felt too. I wanted him back so bad. I found Dad sitting in a chair in the family room, better called the be alone room in our house. He was home, so I must have slept for a while. I wondered if he had seen me with Mom. Immediately, I knew it was going to be much harder for me to say those same words to him. We never talked to each other like that, not even before Michael died. "Hi, Dad." I sat on the sofa near his chair. "I saw you in there with your mother," he said. "She needs you, Jeffrey. You might be the only one who can help her." "Dad, it's not your fault," I blurted out. He didn't say anything. I knew my words surprised him, that they hit hard. I got up and went over and hugged him. "I love you," I said. I let go after a few seconds and headed out of the room. "It's not your fault either," Dad said, before I was gone. I heard his voice breaking up as he said it. I felt that good feeling again and thought of Terupt. I thought about what my dad said, about my mom needing me. I didn't know what else to do, so every day after school, I started going home and resting next to her in bed. It felt like the right thing to do. I tried. Terupt taught me that too. Okay, that chapter almost always makes me want to cry. So that brings us to May. Okay, Jeffrey like 10 minutes ago. Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna let you think for a second. Let you digest it for just a second. I'm gonna turn our recording off.